WEFER. Hello, it's Peter Merrick, and today on July 27, 2022, I am gifting a word. I'm not going to take copyright. I want it to be used. Words are symbols, and it allows us to identify things. If we do not have a word for something, we are not able to identify dangers or opportunities. And the word that I am presenting is WEFER. And what is WEFER? It stands for World Economic Forum Elite Rat. Let me say that again. WEFER stands for World Economic Forum Elite Rat. Yes, I want to share something with you. Anybody who's a WEFER is not on Team Humanity. Many leaders have joined the World Economic Forum and they do not represent their people. They want to put their farmers out of business. They want to break down supply chains. They want people to own nothing and be happy. They use terms like build back better. I was so disgusted to see an interview that was found of Klaus Schwab, the head of the World Economic Forum at Harvard University, where he talks about who was a young global leader, who had become a young global leader, who was spouting off the doctrine of the World Economic Forum. And he said Merkel, the Chancellor of Germany. He talked about Prime Minister Ardern of New Zealand, Justin Boy Trudeau of Canada, Gavin Newsom of California, how these people here were members and graduates of the Global Leaders Program of the World Economic Forum. These people have made a commitment to an organization of unelected people who write policies that you can see being implemented. You might have noticed that starting back in 2020, Joe Biden started using the term build back better. When I first heard that term, I thought he was ripping off making America great again. I didn't understand what it meant. However, in the height of the lockdowns in Canada, Justin Trudeau came out and said the same thing, build back better. You can watch dozens and dozens of world leaders saying the same thing. I also have an issue with anybody who is a global influencer with the World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum pays scholarships for people in key positions in key industries who can influence their agenda onto a nation. Now, I lost for words because at that same talk that Klaus Schwab was giving at Harvard, he proudly shared that 60% of the Canadian cabinet were graduates of his programs, that they had sworn an allegiance to the agenda, UN Agenda 2030, and to WEF, the World Economic Forum. And he was proud that they had infiltrated democracies around the world. So what does a WEFER stand for? Not for you, not for the nation that they come from. They stand for a global agenda which sees you as a useless eater. Could you just get sick when you hear someone says you will own nothing and be happy? You hear people saying there's too many of us. We are a creature that was created by a divine creator. And I'm not the only one who thinks this. It is in the Constitution in almost every nation except the former Soviet Union. And we know what happened to them. In the US Constitution, it says we are endowed with rights. The same thing in the Canadian Constitution. These people were God-fearing. The problem with a woofer is they are rats. They are elite rats. They believe because they've been invited to attend that they are of a special status. We've seen this throughout history where there's been classes that have actually treated the average person terribly. Now, I have a call out to all the business owners and entrepreneurs and all the free thinking men and women on this planet. We've had all these freedoms because other people have sacrificed. Now it's time for us to make sacrifices. I've mentioned before that one of the people in history who had a huge impact on me that we all have to consider the example that this individual set. I want you to imagine it's the Roman Republic, not the empire, the Republic, governed by laws and had citizens and had democracy. They were being attacked. There was a general. His name was Cincinnatus. He had retired to his little 4-acre farm. He was plowing his crops. The Republic needed him, and senators came and said, please be our leader because we don't know what to do, and you could lead us out of this chaos because we are being attacked and we do not know how we are going to survive. Cincinnatus, he put down his plow, he took up the sword, and 16 days later, he put down the hordes that were trying to destroy the Republic. They offered him emperorship, dictatorship. He looked the senators in the eye and he said, I came here to do a job. And he put down the sword and he returned to the plow. Why do I share that story? I wrote my book called The King of Main Street, not the King of Wall Street, because I believe what makes the world better is when you have independent people who are not dependent on the state, who do not need to give or get permission to live. This is a key. Now you benefited from other people who've been here before. And now you're being encroached upon by people who do not want you to make money, to make a living, to be independent, and more importantly, they see us as useless eaters. And many of them, or most of them, are WEFERs. Currently, there's someone running in the Conservative Party in Canada who stated that no one will be in his government who has attended a WEFER meeting, the World Economic Forum meeting. You know, when they were talking about cutting back and us suffering, if you looked at the airport that was a few miles away from this big elite rat conference, there were hundreds of planes parked. I get really sick when I think of Justin Trudeau. He represents that. Prime Minister Ardern from New Zealand. You know what she had the nerve to say because her controllers told her to say it? She told her people who are the most and also having the most because of that in the world not to seek other information. You know what makes a great society? It is the ability to talk and to share ideas. When you are silenced, then things fall apart. Do you know this political correctness that's been placed upon us? Do you know the history of political correctness? It was created by the former Soviet Union during the time of Lenin and Stalin because they knew if they can control the words you use, they can control populations. And that's what they want to do. And in the past, it was easier to control 1 million people than to kill 1 million people. And guess what? We're a problem to the WEFERs. And guess what, WEFERs? If you're listening to this video, don't think you're going into the night easily, because you are also something else. A WEFER also means useless idiot, meaning you are a tool for people you don't even know and agendas that you don't understand. And when they're done with you, they're done with you. And is that the life you want to live? So my call is out to all the independent thinkers out there who've created businesses, who've been independent, to go and use this word, give it purpose and meaning so people understand it. Because once we know and identify what the problem is, then we can deal it. And you know what the real backs will be? It will be inoculating nations against those who've chose and willfully become a WEFER. Have an awesome evening, and please use the word WEFER, share it. If you want, make t-shirts of it, because we need to identify the enemy. Because if we cannot identify the enemy, we will be consumed by the enemy.